They're not here to see me. They're here to see you guys. And we're live with the Metal Labs the week right before Origins. It's Monday now, but in a few days, festivities kick off. With me is, we don't have any of the regular guest hosts, just competitive players who are going to be at Origins. So we have somebody who we have not had in a very long time on this podcast. We have Daniel Powell.
I was on like 2 weeks ago.
Wasn't it literally last week?
No, it was 2 weeks ago, I think.
It kind of ruins the effect. And we have somebody who we don't regularly have. I think we probably had you on the last equivalent of the show, so about a year ago?
Literally a year ago. I checked the date.
Yeah, so we have
literally
Edward Shelton.
Years ago to today.
Nice. So you're here, and you're going to inspire us with some of your brilliant Heroclix knowledge. So we're basically only talking about U.S. Nationals, not that there's any other news. I don't have any local tournaments to talk about anyways because I didn't play any games because I judged. I'm going to quickly go to just share the prizing structure of U.S. Nationals in case anybody's unfamiliar, and then we'll just look at the schedule really quick. So the actual tournament is Friday, June 15th. Everything starts at 10. You don't have to pay, you just qualify. You can either have been qualified from an open or from a couple of grinders, but we'll go over those really quick after. 300 mod range constructed, usual. Multiple Swiss rounds followed by single elimination cut, as per usual. So going from the bottom, top half, get a world championship qualification. So if you're in the top 50 percentile, you're good. Everybody probably already has Professor X and Colossus ID cards, but you can also get, if you're top 16, the Banshee and Psylocke, which we went over a couple weeks ago. Pretty good inspirations on both. We have the Poison Ivy ID card, the Mr. Freeze, and Harley Quinn. So the ones that you don't see here are Rogue, not that it matters because she doesn't have a modern version anyway. We don't have the Joker, which is kind of the best one of the Batman villains. Anybody disagree?
Joker's going to be broken, and that's the part that I hate. Like, the premium... Can y'all still hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, yeah. I've been fiddling around the back of my computer trying to get my camera to work, and it's not. So I'm sort of sad. But the biggest problem that I feel with that Joker ID card is how much offense that comes in with Chair Joker and how much stupid comes in with haha, and I just sort of put it like this: even though like you can't real boy haha, because the moment that he takes damage, I think he just goes poof from the Blackbird. But if you just call in haha and it roll and you're like, oh, I got outwit now, or I got blades now, or I got something else that's stupid now. Yeah, there's no way for you to kill it and get off the board because whatever point value it comes in at, it has that many freaking clicks of health. So that one I'm scared about because I feel games are going to start shifting to the realm of stupid because of that ID card.
So you're basically saying that you do think that the Blackbird is viable?
I can't confirm or deny that I have for that jet. I am thinking about starting some pre-orders on eBay. But yeah, but real talk, like the Blackbird, I mean, you can go and look. I did a show about it. It's like, is it going to be the best thing ever? No. Will there be scary stuff that appears? Yes. Will it win tournaments? Yes. Will it win everything all the time? No. Like you can't be lazy or just straight clone somebody's Blackbird team, at least not for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Like give us around October, Daniel, PJ, Easton, they'll get their magical minds together. They'll make this something that the U.S. military will want to have, and then we'll all be afraid.
Yeah, I just do want to shift the conversation back over to Nationals.
Yeah, to me, not derailing everything.
Mm-hmm. But basically, the best ID card isn't here, and I don't really think any of these are going to matter too much anyway. And plus, I kind of think Harley is the best, and that's participation at the Opens. So,
Title Harley call-in is good.
yeah. Yeah, that's basically why. Plus, we're getting more Batman because we only get Batman.
Well,
top 8.
And
What?
Harley has the 25-point call-in, which is relevant.
Yeah, it's a good little call-in. Can't go wrong. But Bombshell's not terrible either. But if you top 8, you win the purchasables, you save some money, you get the Batman Commissioner Gordon, which is a crazy call-in for Rock Age. Once you get that Whitpog, you get good offense, whatnot. The Blackbird. I think this is the two smaller ones are 15, and I think the Blackbird is 50.
Yes.
Okay, so you get that, and you get the Kirk and Uhura, which might be playable if barrier is a concern. For 25 points, they get to destroy blocking, whatever. But you can buy these anyways. It doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah.
You save some money.
Love that Banshee ID card.
Mm-hmm. Now we get into the real meat of things, where you get a whole host of things that you have to actually win. Kingdom Come Power Woman, which we talked about, I think, last week, and a couple currently unknown dials. We have the Captain Cold Heatwave Impulse, which will be the prizes for the next round of opens. So those will be, I think, Impulse was 8, Heatwave 4, top 4, and then Captain Cold top 2. And then Power Woman as the first place prize, which doesn't matter as much as Lockjaw and Shadowcat did at the time, but it is what it is.
You mean just Lockjaw? Nobody likes Shadowcat, really?
Yeah, she's an okay call-in at best, and I would say that about Captain Cold, but his ID retired kind of early, so
They gimped him.
Yeah,
They gimped him so bad.
Yeah, and then other stuff we've already seen: the Kingdom Come Orion, the Bombshells Hawk Girl, Shadowcat. Everybody can finally get that and complete their Age of Apocalypse. And then Bishop Blacking Forge, so you can get those open figures if you're missing any of those. Lockjaw, again, finally, for most people. And then Death's Head, Mandarin, and War Machine. Get those as well. And then the Daredevil. So not that a lot of these are super playable, but it's nice to finally be able to get them, and Lockjaw won't cost $200 in the secondary market. Of course, excluding the unknown dials, and I guess Lockjaw, are either of you excited about any of these figures?
A Kingdom Come Power Woman at 25.
I agree in a world without shredders, because I feel it's just way too easy to take those points. But I do love what she does. I agree with you on that.
Well, it's good to get her now, because you got to remember, con figures are only come out during that season.
Yeah.
Shredders have made it through one world cycle. This is their second world cycle. Next June, bye-bye.
Yeah, but then we lose basically all the JSA when Joker's Wild retires. So.
Nah, that's okay. I mean, that's really okay. I mean, Power Woman's just there for the +1 action total at that point.
Oh yeah, she's a ridiculously good support figure. I guess you weren't on when we talked about her, but I love that support dial.
Yeah.
Edward, what do you like in the winnable pool here?
Okay, I have to say this. If you got in the top 4 and you don't already have a Lockjaw, then yeah, that's a wonderful, magical thing. But like, this is the part that sort of frustrates me, because I'm gonna be honest, they're trying hard to swag out, but when you sort of half step and you're like, oh yeah, this isn't a world championship, this is a national championship, mwahaha, it's good, but it's not as good, mwahaha. It sort of pisses me off, because half the stuff I couldn't sell on eBay, like real talk. If I made top 4, and I'm not trying to be like the party pooper and the old man get off of my yard type phase. Not yet. That's later on in the show. But real talk, I'm not happy. Like, when you talk about last year, how you got factory sets and all this other good stuff for top 4, and then you come back the following year and you're like, hey, here's this stuff, guys. Here you go. And we're not supposed to remember. It's like, hey, last year you had money. What happened this year? Are you broke whiz kids? Are you trying to baller on a budget? But that's just me. If you got into top 4 through grinders and you've reached this magical stage, this is great. This is great for you. But for me, who busted my butt through like 80 different WizKids Opens because I didn't know WizKids was going to have freaking grinder qualifiers, feel the salt coming out my mouth as I say that. I have most of this. And when I go and do another WizKids Open, not trying to be arrogant, I'm going to get more of this. So this is not prizing to me. This is just like, hey man, go sell it on eBay and make $100.
You'd be surprised at the prices I got. I sold my Black King for 20 to troll. Like, there's still some money there, but it's not, you're not swaggerific with this as you.
I mean, Lockjaw got you 200.
Yeah,
maybe 150 because of the influx of new Lockjaws.
Right, but it's not going to be so saturated yet.
Look, man, it doesn't matter to me. If I make top 4, I'll hustle hard. I'll get my return on my investment.
Hustle as hard as you hate.
Something like that.
Everybody loves you, Dan. You just go into your Facebook group and be like, hey, guys, I'm trying to go to 80 different tournaments, man. Support the podcast. I'm putting this stuff on eBay. Here's the link. That stuff is gone. That stuff is gone, Dan. You know that.
I don't hustle through the Facebook group. Of my podcast. We do. There's the HIE and the Heroclix International Trading and Selling section. There's a lot of good folks on there. So I don't know. I've made like 200 and something trades and sales on Facebook. So
nice.
Lots of folks on there willing to make a deal. So I appreciate all those folks.
There you go.
I do agree that it doesn't feel like you're super in the money at this point, unfortunately. But top 2, you get the most recent chase set available. So Avengers Infinity. Those are that's a little bit more money.
It's not like if it was X-Men. And or even if you were going to say it's not like it was Harley. I would even say that. Because if you gave me X-Men, I would be like, that's like $400 almost. But you're giving me Avengers Defenders War, and it's like, yeah, I can pimp out Star Fox for like 150 if I get nice and lucky. But Thor is like $30.
Yeah, they're all except for Star Fox in the 30 range.
Yeah.
Although, Boondragon could jump if people actually play her, but pretty much you're looking at one really expensive. Yeah, they're not making it rain this year as much.
So I think the big thing for me is will they come in their own special plastic thing?
They should.
Or will they be in individual plastic clamshells?
I still have my MODOK Deadpool clamshell because it's so big and awesome.
Yeah, so if they have the big clamshell, that'll be worth it because then I can put them all in there and they look all cool.
Yeah, it's like getting being able to hold on to like a God Pack sleeve or whatever.
That's right. The prize is in the plastic holder.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing I will say about this though. If you do get the whole chases, all the chases, it's not bad. It's really not bad. It's just not great. Like if you could just rewind a little bit, that would be awesome. Or if they even said, and I know this sounds freaking douchery, but that I just made up a word, people. Give you get your address and mail you the chases from the next set. That I would be like, heck yeah, I've come to gamble on that.
Yeah, they did some pretty cool mail stuff last year. Like they did at the fan appreciation event, which they're having again this year. They had a raffle for a Neil Adams, I think the artist was, signed Muhammad Ali Superman set. They do have some cool stuff there, but yeah, basically, unless you're winning.
The panel that goes on during Nationals.
It starts at 7. I think it overlapped with Worlds last year, and nobody cared that Howard won. Essentially,
Sadly,
at the time, unfortunately, not like in general, but at the moment,
Right.
it was like somebody mentioned it at the thing, and everybody was like, "Oh, cool!" But they were in the middle of the presentation. But basically,
yeah, that lets you know where their priorities are. But that's just getting the salt coming out of my mouth. So
that's another topic.
That's another topic for later on the show.
Yeah. So finally, if you win, congratulations. You get the factory set. Oh God, that sounds horrifying, to be honest. The Avengers Infinity factory set.
That's a big box.
We saw the UK Nationals champ, and it's a glorious piece of clamshell. I mean,
I've seen another set, but that's pretty big even. But that's some craziness.
yeah, it's in that Heroclix UK group. He
I
posted
gotta
a
look at
picture.
that, yeah.
Yeah, it's gigantic. It's glorious. It's amazing.
Nice. But yeah, if you're winning, I mean, that's a Groot, that's the chase set, the prime. There's some money there, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's some dollar bills, y'all. Now, this is a prize. Now, I'm going to say this because we all have probably gone slightly broke trying to get this. And again, you're going to hear the salt come out of my mouth again. Why can't you just give me a factory set of the next set? I already bought this set. That's what I needed to win this stuff. Like, I hate to say this, just due to their own design, they don't make stuff last long in terms of the meta scene. So give me the next thing and help a brother out that way. Don't give me the current thing. I already bought the current thing. The only thing I'm going to do with the current thing is either sell it as a whole to Troll and Toad or whoever it is, and then make maybe $400, $500. Let's just say let's be nice. I made $500, and then what? Like, I'm gonna just take that money and buy the next set anyway. Give me the next set. Save me some time. Cut the middleman out of this, WizKids. But again, the salt's coming out my mouth real hard.
Yeah, I remember thinking when, what was it? When they did sealed open, what was there was some, I think sealed opens. I was like, there's another set at the time. There was another set coming out so soon. How cool would it be if they did the next set early, but exclusively for this event? If they did that with like this prizing or with Team Worlds, that'd be pretty awesome. On that kind of idea, but
I'm pretty sure they don't do that because local stores complain that cuts into their sales.
I mean, it shouldn't so much with the limited numbers you would have there.
They had Guardians of the Galaxy like out before it hit shelves.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that happened one year. I don't know if that was Origins or Gen Con.
It was
Pretty sure it was Gen Con because of August timing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm again. I feel like this. WizKids is hedging some bets. They're holding on to their ducats, and they're like, "Look, we want everybody to show up to this Worlds party because if we lose face here, it's going to be a problem. So we're going to cut back on the prizing a little bit. It's going to be okay. You're not going to be salty for showing up, but we want to have you encouraged to come out towards." Worlds. I do think this is something, if they said it early on, that I would be less pissed off about. If they said, look, man, top half of Nats gets into Worlds. If they told me that in January, I would have been huffing it. But I also would have been like more on WizKids' back, being like, yo, man, we're treating this serious. Give me all the previews a month in advance. Like a month from the date of the event, just make sure all the dial information is out so I can practice and I can make it, all my teams that I need to do. So that way, this is an actual competition, not some last minute, hey, there's another set that comes out 2 weeks before the competition and it's going to be illegal like freaking last year. Like I want them to be professional, and it seems like they lack subtlety to do so at times. But
I think that's totally planned, Ed. What if?
The hype for that? Yeah.
Yeah, what if came out 2 weeks before Worlds? how else do you sell out a set? You make it legal 2 weeks before Worlds. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's a brilliant selling strategy. I don't fault them at all for that. That's
at that stage, this is again the old man sitting on his yard. At what stage do they respect us then as competitive players? And that's my concern. When you go and you talk to the leadership of WizKids, when they play this game, they play as casuals. As good as this show is, they're not watching this show. They're not listening to you, Dan. For hell, they're not listening to me. They know who I am and they know some crap I've said, but they're not listening to me. Okay, they're primarily casual minded. They don't really, I feel, in my opinion, respect the competitive player. They want us out because we make them money, and so they try to do things that makes them money, and that's fine. But at least respect me and respect the craft. So that's how I look at it. But I wanted to go into that event, and it's like everybody's prepared. Everybody has a chance. I don't want to hear the excuse of it came out 2 weeks. The set came out 2 weeks before the event, and guess what? All of the super duper mans sold out, so I couldn't get one, and I had to buy 1.5 cases to finally pull one. And I went broke, and I can't do battle royales now, or I can't do X or YZ fun event because I had to spend all this money on product I don't want. That's just frustrating to me, and that's the end of my rant. I'm sleep deprived and salty, so there we go.
I was gonna say that transitions us pretty nicely into the actual meta talk.
I told you.
Man, I've been trying to cut back on my salt in my diet, Edward.
Yeah, man, I am not.
I need a glass of water
for your heart right now. Yeah, but I'm full of iodine too, so you won't get goiters.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is more a question for you, Edward, than it is for Dan, because Dan is a more recent entrant into the Heroclix mania. But when was the last time the meta was so diverse? Like, this is 2012 levels of diverse to me.
I'll be honest, of the amount of things that I've seen people talk about and switch from team to team to team to team, the last time I seen the meta this open-ish was right when there's two times. Right when we had gotten the Infinity Gauntlet. Because the Infinity Gauntlet made everything wide open. The freaking Bat Belt closed everything back down. And then entities before multicolored lanterns. Those are the two times where things have been the most open.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, to me, healthy meta is probably 2012, because if you look up those results, top 16, those are 16 different teams. They share the Gauntlet, because that was the only resource, and there was a bunch of Fast Forces Scarlet Witch, but otherwise, that was 16 different teams, and you just had Heroclix players playing their teams properly. And the whole, when you could entity stuff and make an entity-themed team, just do whatever you want.
I did that. Right? I did something like that. I did Welcome to the Legion Parallax.
I've done that. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, to make Wolverine, Agent of Hydra, a Legion member, and then I made a Legion theme team of +4. It was glorious, and we had Hydra ATA back. Yeah, it was glorious. But I think let's talk about diversity and how it's healthy in terms of player choice right now, because I think that's a good thing. Number one, we are out of the delusion that Unimind is the only playable option. He's still one of the best options. I'm not going to fight Dan on that. He is one of the best options, mainly because of Lockjaw right now. Okay. And then Group just came in and was just like, were you thinking about playing Unimind? Here, what if I sweeten the pot for you, buddy? You get this, a leadership, 2 free guys to go and whap the fire out of your opponents, and also you get to play a Flora Colossal. All this for a round off price for about like $400. Okay, which in all honesty is not that bad in comparison to teams that we've seen since Quinjet. Like between Lanterns and Quinjet, $400 is reasonable.
To be fair, the Uni Lockjaw team is around $900.
No, because if you got a lockjaw, you earned it. Like only a handful of people that have a lockjaw that aren't on a team are either borrowing it or paid for it. Everybody else earned it.
I'm just saying, for just going out and replicating the team, it's close to $900.
Nah.
I sold Lockjaw for 200. Like, how much are you factoring? How much are you saying Lockjaw's worth for your math there?
So, Lockjaw, solid 250.
That's fair.
So if you had to just go buy one, the whole Unimind suite, to get all the available options, right? You're probably looking at around $80 pretty solidly, because you've got to
Unimind's like 20. Are we doing Thanos or are we doing?
Well, you got to factor in Unimind went up to about 30. Thanos is 35 to 40. Xerxes,
really? I thought he was.
Yeah, he dropped.
Still, really?
He dropped.
Yeah, he dropped to about 35, 40. Xerxes another 15. And then probably $5 to $10 in the other ones.
Sure.
So you're $80 comes quick.
Oh, we're at $330. I got my calculator open. We're doing this. I am straight doing this.
All right. Groot is 60.
Nope, 40. They dropped.
Yeah,
Really?
He dropped.
I saw him for 50 Canadian local, and I was like, that seems really low.
I bought 3 Groots for no more than $40 each. They dropped.
Why? I guess they're going to jump up again after Nationals.
They're going to jump up after Worlds, but I got them like week 2. So
wow.
I paid $40. So let's just say here, I'll hit you in the middle. I'll give you $50 for a Groot. Okay, there we go. We're at 380.
All right. Wolverine and his ID.
That's $80.
That's closer to 100. Wolverine by himself is 40 right now.
Okay.
Iceman and his ID is 150.
Hold on, wait. Together?
Yeah, Iceman's about 110, and then his ID is probably a solid 40.
Really? Because that's funny. Because I ended up getting his ID for 80, and then Iceman for 80. So I ended up paying like 160 for mine. But I got mine like week 3. But
wow.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you want to go higher or lower there.
Here, okay. So let's just say for right now we're around 460. So we just we'll make. I'm fiddling with the numbers a little bit. All right. There we go. If my calculator would stop being a douche to me. All right. So $460. All right. Let's keep going. So
so as of this point, we're already ahead of your $400 estimate.
Yeah, we are.
But we're not.
Okay.
So we're not to my 900. That's fine. I was probably factoring in my ROC team costs because the ROC maps drove it up a couple $100.
Jean Grey ID.
Yeah, Jean Grey ID's probably solid 90.
What? Man, where did you buy? Because I bought this stuff for $30.
Just go look on eBay. Jean's hovering around 45 to 50.
Right now?
Wait, the figure or the ID?
The figure.
Okay. All right, that's fair. I thought you meant the ID because that ID was dirt cheap.
That ID's gone back up.
What are these people doing? Okay.
I'm not paying this. I'm not saying I paid this personally. I'm saying if you had to go replicate the team
today,
within the past 3 weeks,
today is what you're saying. Straight from Ground Zero. Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna add in that. All right. So I'm all right. There we go. We're at 545.
So that it was 3 IDs, right?
Yeah. No, Wolverine,
Iceman, Jean.
Cyclops. All right, no, sorry, Wolverine, Iceman, Jean.
And then Brood X is 50, 40 for the Brood X, and then $10 to enter the WKO to win him.
Or just 10 to buy it. Either way, it's not more than that.
Okay.
And then, so if we just go with the Floor Colossus version, I realize the math's a little off, but just throw in the Floor Colossus version. Because the Brood X could be something else. It could be a chamber or something like that. But last thing was the Floor Colossus. Now, I get that he's been $8. He's also been $35.
So let's split it at, say, 25.
All right.
All right.
I mean,
so, okay.
can you actually get one now? Is PJ not just cornered the market?
I think I have 15 now myself.
I think he had 17 last I heard, but that was a while ago.
Okay.
Either way, y'all are crazy with those trees.
All right. So it's $620.
All right.
Okay.
And then how much is the Invisible Jet or Deadpool Jet worth?
I thought people were using Boxing Ring. Because Boxing Ring would have been just pure whatever you pay, because that would have been 50.
Yeah, 50. Let's just say the Merc Jet cost you 30 on eBay if you didn't win one locally. But the difference, it's 40 for your terrain.
Okay, so let's just say 40 for trade. All right, we're at 660.
I'm not done. I'm not done yet. The Star Trek Underground map is $30.
What? No, man. That was $15. I got that sucker off of Pat for $15. I don't see how anybody paid that much for that.
I will say I just bought the last one that popped up as an extra one. Well, because I gotta have two for me and Sam, and I paid like $22 for it.
Okay, so let's split the difference. We'll say 18. All right, there we go. We're at 678. We're at 678.
Yeah, I mean, and then like I don't know, like the Harley's Apartments a must play. That's a $5 map. You don't really have to add that in. And
All
then
right, I did.
Yeah, that's fine. And then like your third map could be anything, right? So you could have a cheap version, or you could do something like the Office as well.
Okay, let's just say Office, so that's another $25. Okay, so it's 708. If you were playing Worlds and you earned your lockjaw, minus that 250, it's 458. I was darn close. I was darn close with my logic. So there we go. All right. I just proved I was sort of right and sort of wrong at the same time.
There's a first time for everything.
Yeah. Don't y'all listen to my show? I admit I'm wrong all the time. But okay, so let's look at that. All right. So if you're at Nats and you more than likely earned your lockjaw, you paying around $400. Okay. All right. So then we have that. If you want to go cheaper than that, you have shredders with whatever combo taxi that you want. Okay, so that's out there. You have insert how many dang colossal giant girls that I ever could buy or sell my soul for. That probably, depending on how many fast forces you have, still comes in under 400. Maybe 300 if you go heavy on the fast forces giant girls. But you're looking at Chase Hawkeye. His price went down because nobody likes him anymore. He was the pretty boy at the party. Now the girls don't come out for him anymore. They're over for him. And then you have the uncommon giant girls. They were like $3, and then they went up to like $10 each.
I think I bought 11 of them at $3 a piece.
Yeah, they went up because someone indicated like the rarity was off with them. I can't confirm or deny that, but it was a speculation that the rarity for the uncommon giant girls wasn't quite right. So you add that
it was
in
like
there.
one per case, actually.
Yeah, it's like one per case versus like the Doom Buggy and all the other crazy crap. So yeah, like you can play Avengers, you can go and play Mystical Theme Team if you still feel froggy and want to do that. There are a bunch of other different options. Like you can spam Colossals out the butt if you wanted to. Like I've played practice games online and in real life where like this is just more Colossals than I ever thought I would ever play. And that's just the way it is. It's think big and play small, you know. That's how I look at it.
So I would say the most expensive team that I also came up with, just if we're spitballing, would be a team with 5 Surters on it.
Oh God.
So Ed, if you didn't know, Surters went up to $1 a piece.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Really? I felt good. I paid 65 for mine. And I was
I paid 65 Canadian a little while ago. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's con season. Everything's con season inflated. And the worst part of it is, since con season is going to stretch all the way to December and not stop at Rocktober, it's going to keep prices up for a long time. Because you're going to have competitions all summer, and then you're going to have a brief lull in September. Then you have Rocktober, and then you're having a minor break, and then everybody's really getting ready for Worlds.
If we don't have November WKOs.
I have choice words about that.
We had November WKOs the past 2 years, right?
But they have summer WKOs now. And with them making the shift, I was figuring that the summer WKOs were going to replace what would have been the winter WKOs.
But we didn't have May WKOs this time, right? Yeah, no, we did. Last year they were February, May, November, and this year they've been March, July, and then reasonably September or November.
No, I did. See, that would be my problem, because if I don't want to push the ball downfield and talk about what does a qual really mean, but realistically, and we can come back to it. I'm not the moderator, but we can come back to it if the moderator so chooses. But I got to be honest, WizKids sort of just like took a big giant dump on all your work that you went to go do for a WKO and said, "Hey guys, you went to 3 tournaments to try to get that qualification. Yeah, there's this things called grinders that we didn't tell you about, and you could have gotten to the event anyway. So you know how you went to that extra WKO that you really didn't want to go to? Yeah. Sorry about that. We're glad that we got your money though, sucker. And we don't care about all your work and ethic as long as you pay us." And that pisses me off.
See, Ed, that's why you got to learn to love the travel. I love every venue that I go to.
I don't hate travel, but I do want to know what I'm fighting for. Like when I'm counting the cost, because I'll be honest, if I knew that I could get a WKO qual, if I just went to Nats and just got there a day early for grinders, I would have not taken a day off to go to one of the WKOs, and instead I would have just used that day to just do grinders at Nats. Like it matters to me for vacation times. It matters for transparency, and not only that, like some of the WKO places, let's be honest, are shady as all get out. When you got a WKO going on at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and this was one of my boys on my team had to deal with this up in Indiana and Illinois.
He got that lockjaw though.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't there was one like that in Chicago and a really shady one in California.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what happened. Is they said you had to pre-register. He pre-registered. He got there and he swept them. But my point is they don't care about quality control about this. They don't care about experience about this. And that's what's ticking me off. If a venue wants to do sealed at 1 a.m. in the morning, they can do it. And we know that it's just a local party. It's there to make sure that all the con LEs go to the locals, all the WKO prizes go to the locals, and that's it. It's not about the competition. It's about getting the cheapo prize support and making sure that the locals get it and the quote-unquote sharks don't. Again, the salt coming out of my mouth, high sodium diet, just add in the pork, get the miso soup going, maybe want to take some heart medication.
Throw some potatoes in there just to absorb the salt.
Edward, you're lining up for a transference of a David Gosselman hug from him to me to you on Wednesday or Thursday.
Aww.
Oh, okay. You give him I'll give him a transference high five back.
I'm bringing you back down, Ed. Just
yeah.
Internet hug here, buddy.
And yeah, I'm and this is again, I'm mainly frustrated is that we have team meetings at the beginning of the year. And when WizKids starts pulling a lot of stuff, it's like I'm a contractor for the government. I get 3.3 hours off per paycheck. If I get sick, I don't have sick leave. So when I take 2.5 or 3 days off to go do this, I have to plan. Like I can't have stuff happen. And so it's frustrating to me because when I'm hustling hard trying to get these WKO wins, and then to find out, oh yeah, WizKids doesn't respect my hustle. I'm like, so why should I respect yours? Why should I throw my energy in behind it? And I think a lot of people in the community this year sort of feel the same. But again, we're not talking about that. My salt levels are high. So, Dan, let's talk about what you feel is cool and diversified in the meta so we can get back on track, because I'll rabbit trail us to Oz if I could.
Right. So I think, this is my 4 years and 1 month since I've started playing Heroclix.
Congrats.
So it was May of 14 when I started. So I think the most diverse time, and I'm gonna name this time period. I'm gonna call it post entity keyword errata, post Iron Pharaoh errata, pre entities becoming equipment errata.
Ooh.
So you're probably talking like Isaac's ROC Cup win, from there back to well, I mean, that was also the time of Faust, but my experience at that point would have been rock play, so Faust was banned. So taking Faust out of the meta, and then from there, even the post entity becoming characters, from there to right before UXM released.
I was going to say a more recent one, as far as I'm concerned, is post Super Scroll, pre Jakeem. So about 3 months there. Who won? I guess that was when Ed won the World Cup. That's when the first US Cup was. Like a lot of Quinjet. Faust.
That was Quinjet. That was Faust.
Devil Dinosaur was a name.
Yeah.
The Skull Ship didn't die when he got put on the office, so that was cool.
Why open my wound?
Hey, it's mine too, buddy. I love that Skull Ship.
Skull Ship forever. Skull Ship forever.
Internet hug, Edward. Internet hug.
Yeah. You can't see the man tier right now.
Well, I mean, you got to keep in mind too that that was also the Justin Seifert, Pandora's Box meta as well. So I mean it was diverse, and it kind of wasn't, and that would be almost my thought today. And the meta is really spawned and since Worlds last year. And there was whenever Howard wrote his article last year, something has stuck with me since his article from his win, and that he said he wanted a hardy team that didn't give up points. And if you look at every team from even Matt's second place and Howard's first place Worlds team, they were hardy. They didn't give up a lot of points. Every team since then, my ROC Cup team last year didn't give up points. Each individual piece added up to not much, unless you got the big guy. You're talking about, and even so, right? Even so, right? You're talking about all these giant girls, the AI chases, Unimine, Lockjaw, multiple Sam Caps, all of these wonderful things that we have, but the core is the teams are diversified, that one hit doesn't dismantle them. Right, everything's hardy, everything takes clicks, everything takes commitment to kill, and if you don't kill it, you don't get the points, and that probably cost you the win.
Here's where I come back with you at is, if we go back to Worlds last year, Origins last year, around this time, and I'm also running around like a chicken with my head cut off, asking who's playing what. That's just the type of leader I am around like big tournament time. I'm like, who's playing what? What's going on? People talk to me, but here's a problem with team design. Like last year, it was what countered the most amount of stuff and what dealt with the most amount of situations, and it was Jakeem Faust, Jakeem, and Goblin King, or Howard played Goblin King. And Howard came back and proved, to all of us that, hey, you don't need a resource. But I also did a show just proving that I can be correct, that the resources got so weak at Worlds that special items for the points started to be better than the actual resources. Like, we're still talking about symbiote. Like, you got to understand how big of a deal that is, that this game element isn't a character, it's an add-on, and it's relevant for the second world championship in the world. Like seriously think about that, listeners.
I know. So here's the thing that always crosses my mind. I know you'll love this, Edward. What if the symbiote was 5 points? Boy, that would just be so amazing.
Yeah, no, that would ruin lives right there. I think like it changes games, like how severely powerful it becomes.
Symbiote's life.
Yeah. So like if we take it a step forward and we start talking about points of liability and why I wasn't able to see Unimind as a character at Rocktober and got blindsided by him, was that I saw the clicks of health, I saw the stop click, I saw in the back of my mind Green Arrow, and I saw Hawkeye, and I'm like, yeah, this dude's going to get popped. What I didn't see was the stats, the amount of powers, the buffing, the call-ins, and all the other stuff. And when you look at it like that, Unimind's liability was tiny. So when we look at, again, about game design, why are people gravitating to Shredders? Why do people gravitate to Unimind, Lockjaw, Ironheart? Even if you want to say Fast Forces Deadpool, I mean, not Fast Forces Deadpool, Shifty Focus Deadpool, is that your points of liability on the board is really low if you build the right team. And if your opponent takes out Unimind, the game isn't over because the pop-ins are still there. So your opponent now has to go deal with the pop-ins. Well, now I don't have Hawkeye unless I'm running an Avengers team. So you're looking at over 90% of the field not having the way to just easily deal with Unimind spam. That's an issue. When we start looking at the thought process, like, oh wow, that's still Hardy, and then also Thanos has probs, and Thena has perplex, and Thena, Makari, Cersei, they all can perplex themselves. Like there's a lot of silliness that just goes down. But I think also when we start, going back to where are these fragile teams, and is there a way to just say, all right, I burn stuff, sort of like Kenny's team. And unfortunately, without the round table, that's not really possible just to go in and keep burning stuff. So you can't just have this, I'm going to throw swarms and crap at you until I die. I don't care about the points because I'm going to win. I don't think we have that now because of the table being gone.
I don't know. I think somebody can make Missy Death work. I wouldn't count her out.
I know of a few people that can make Mistress Death work, but again, let's ask the question. Okay, what is the skill level for Mistress Death? Okay, screw the build. Let's just real talk. What's the skill level for Mistress Death? And I would say
higher than average for
right,
like a competitive player. Like if you're running it, you have to be like a notable or an up and comer. Like this is not. I've started competitive recently enough. I'm getting my feet wet. This is like you have to be good.
Okay, so we could pretty much say that the level of difficulty is for an A to an S class player. All right. Does that sound fair?
What's an A to an S?
It's just, S class is like super superior. A is you're really good. So I would usually say in my personal ranking system, an A is a person that constantly breaks. A S is usually a person that constantly wins. Okay. So I would say I'm an A. I would say, Dan, you're an S. Your wife is an S. Y'all are winning. Okay.
Yeah, like a PJ or an Easton is an S.
Yeah. PJ, Easton is an S. Okay. The tastemaker people. Okay. Y'all the tastemaker people. I'm the guy that folks come in. It's like, all right, we're looking for the beginning commentary. What's going on? Okay. When folks want to hear what the new, the good meal that's piping hot for Heroclix, they come and listen to you guys. Okay. All right. So when we start talking about that level of difficulty, the same thing when we look back classically, when we look back at Quinjet, level of difficulty is extremely high. Okay. How long did it take for someone to crack that? Until Easton talked with Aaron, talked with the other parts of the hive mind over at Majestics, and then they made the foundation of it, and then Pat won with it. Like, the problem that I'm currently seeing right now is Unimind's difficulty is at A+ to S class level. Mistress Death is at A to S class level play. Jakeen is at A to S class level play. I'm not making this as an insult. Shredders is a C up. And I see Shredders being way more accessible to people. Again, I'm not saying this as an insult, because I know your wife loves Shredders. But the idea of moving out, plinking somebody, flipping Minnie with the judo flip, and then having him come back and be like, I want to get him one more time, Bob, and then plinking him again. Okay.
Don't worry, Ed. There's no insults. It's a contentious matter in the household.
Yeah, like it's obvious a lot of folks are going to see that. It's like, well, how am I going to kill 15 colossal retaliators on their field? Oh yeah, Shredders, because all I have to do is run up, plink them for one, have the freaking ID call, throw Minnie around like we're doing the foxtrot, go sidestep, plink two more, have Claw or Clone go out there and plink some more. I killed like 8 figures. There you go. I mowed down half your giant girls. Come at me, bro. Colossal retaliate all you want. You're not going to kill me. You don't have enough power.
But I think while I agree with 95% of what you just said, I think that there are giant girl builds that will punish a Shredder Peace Machine build for doing that. And that Shredder player is going to sit on the other side and go, what just happened? My Shredders just both got reset.
Yeah, like nobody who's playing Giant Girls is not going to prepare for that specific thing that is very common now. Like unless you're just playing. I think,
Ed, if I was to take your thought there, like there's going to be your B's and your A- that try the Giant Girl spam. But if you get that A+ player that has that Giant Girl spam, it's going to be a tough cookie.
I'm going to be honest.
I've tried to eat that cookie. That cookie was hard to swallow.
Okay.
I needed some of that milk, and it was crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna bring a little nice baked good out from the nice Phoenix Nest Bakery. It's my own creation. And I was letting you in on something that I was working on that I just didn't have enough time to do. I had a Avengers team build with some giant girls, okay? I'm not going to say how many and what ratio, but I had some. I had a Hawkeye and I had an old man cap, and it was good. And there was other things involved, okay? People helped me work on it. I can't give the whole recipe around, but you spend enough time, you can figure out how this goes down. Okay, the problem that I found is this. You either have one of two types of giant girl builds. Either giant girl with prob or giant girl, let me dear God pray that 5 teams is enough. And against certain teams right now in the meta, I hate to say it, that Dr. Voodoo, that crappy Dr. Voodoo is worth his 40 points. And a lot of people are being like, Edward, you're on that stuff. But when you're looking at trying to pack as many giant girls in, trying to pack a Hawkeye, try to pack whatever else you're trying to do for damage, if your second or third attacker is Star Fox or one of the other chases, or hell, Thor with Mjolnir, Cosmic Thor with Mjolnir, whatever it is, you need to get those points tight. And you need to spam as many giant girls as you possibly can. You're going to need a prob, because eventually Hawkeye will miss. Hawkeye will miss. And then it's like, well, I'm going to theme prob. Okay, cool. Now you tokened up one giant girl. Okay, boom, 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 boom. I missed again. Okay, I tokened up another giant girl. All right, what happens if I move into a place where I token up the two giant girls that can see me, and now the other standard characters can't, because the giant girls are 2x2, and also they're giant, so there's no way to see over them or to the side of them or around them. The big butts are just blocking the view. Believe it or not, again, for level of difficulty, if that B+ player starts dealing with the problems that I had and made me have to abandon giant girls as much as I wanted to play, hell, I even talked about it. I've been shilling so much from my show, so bad. A couple episodes ago, giant girl conversation. But yeah, it's not easy. It's difficult. It's easy to say oh, he hit one of my giant girls because I sent the giant girl downfield, and then whoever did it, I'm going to colossal retaliate 8 Fast Forces giant girls. Well, you know what? The moment that you sent that bait giant girl down the field, anybody with a Professor X ID is going to be like, see this new stupid person over there. I'm going to call in Professor X. I'm going to bring in, Brood Professor X. I'm going to Psychic Blast 3 of these fools over here, make 3 pogs. I'm going to send out my main attacker, make more pogs because I energy exploded you, or I pulse waved you. And then, oh, I got a third attack because I have a leadership because everybody and their mama has group. And boom, capped another one just for good feelings. So now, even though Professor X probably could die or whatever else, you probably, whatever else, guess what? You got 8 freaking pogs on the field. And you could just be like, hey, man, mind control for days, tie up for days, blaze claws for things. It's difficult. It's not an easy, clean matchup to say oh, I'm going to go against Unimind and Rafflestomp people. I'm going to go against Shredders and Rafflestomp people. The moment that Professor X ID pops out is the moment that game changes. And you better be afraid if you're a giant girl player. That's my piece.
And yeah, I mean, Ed, you covered a lot of the points I wrote in my Majestics article as well. Brood X was one of them.
That dude is so broke. He's so broke. I hate to say it like this. Professor X ID is one of the 3 main IDs I feel is going to change US Nats. Wolverine is going to be number 1. Jean Grey is number 2. Brood X is number 3.
Cannot disagree with that.
No disagreement there.
If Brood X, if the only way Brood X was more stupid, and that's not even proper English, is if whoever he killed, the Brood spawned there. That's the only way he becomes more stupid.
Man, that's symbiote being 5 points talk right there.
But yeah, but sort of going back to level of difficulty of teams, I only see maybe 1 or 2 teams that are meta competitive actually being accessible. Number 1 is definitely going to be Shredders and Carry. I'll just say it like that. And then number 2 is going to be ID spam. But the ID spam is not like old ID spam. It's like, hey man, I have Sam Cap, or hey guy, I have somebody that's 150 points that's sort of decent, and I'm going to get near the middle of the field and just throw out ID cards, and I have like Worm or something like that. Those are the only two things I see that are accessible. Everything else requires practice. Like if I had 2 more weeks, I would play Avengers, but I don't have 2 weeks, so I can't play Avengers. If I want to seriously be like, oh, I have a serious chance at Nats, it can't happen.
Well, Avengers is just doubly unforgiving because of the sheer amount of plastic you have to get, and the carrying in the tournament alone is just it's madness.
I tell you what, I made this offer, and I hope Jason doesn't mind. If anybody plays 20+ giant girls, I have a Clixed off sticker for their 5-gallon bucket.
Real talk, man. I bought 2 Fast Forces the first day, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm only going to need 2. It's never going to get worse than that. Like, it's all that's pretty abusive. Okay, so I'm sitting back at home. I'm talking to Phoenix Nest members. They're like, yo, man, what if we had like 8 giant girls on a team? And I'm like, yeah. And then it's like, well, we got like 4 Fast Forces giant girls. And I was like, oh. And we had like an alpha build. And I'm like, this is fun. I need to buy more giant girls. I go to the store. I call the store up. I'm like, how many more giant girl Fast Forces you have? They're like, we have 1. I'm like, put it on hold for me. So I put it on hold, buy it. Everybody in my venue giving me the snake eye because I got the last one. Okay. So we, play it around again. I'm like, man, I don't know if I need that many giant girls. Going to Tulsa, talk to my boy. He gives me another giant girl. So I got like 4 giant girls. And I'm still like, do I have enough Fast Forces giant girls?
I think I've got 5 Fast Forces, which would be enough for me. I think ideally, if you wanted to go big, it's 7. And then I'm probably approaching 20 main set ones.
Oh my god.
Now, for me, it's that trait. That trait is stupid. Like you get enough of them. It's like you start from the outside and you move in as you just like curb stomp them, and then you activate that trait once one of them hits and there are too many around. And you're like, all right, so everybody that's sort of surrounding the target of our hate, you all get to step back 2 squares, and now a new group can come in and do the exact same thing that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
God. The only way Giant Girl would have been worse if she had Empower. If the uncommon had Empower.
Edward, again, this is Symbiote 5 points talk. Let's do it. Let's give it to her. Let me just get that pink marker, scratch it in there, done.
There we go.
I mean, Groot gets leadership for 20. Why can't Giant Girl have Empower for 10?
It's a Groot's leadership almost looks like at wit. Does that mean that we can just pretend that is a different shade of purple, pink?
You do that. You do that. Hold up. Let me go see if there's anybody that is 10 points that has Empower. Because
the Hand Ninja.
Oh, really? See, there you go. Great minds. So
and Worker Spider.
I was yeah, not in Modern at half the points of what he was talking about, but yes. Also, can't go wrong with the Worker Spider.
I'm good. Well, that Worker Spider is broken. We all know it is. It's been broken since the moment it was made.
It could be better. In Dan's dream world.
There's choice words that I have for that. But yeah, it could be better if it did certain things. Okay, here we go. Ravager, 10 points. Empower.
Right, but that's also at the dial where your opponent picks the starting line, so you're not necessarily getting it.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed it. Joker Thug, 10 points. Empower click 2.
Yeah.
That's sort of sad, but I'm gonna look up that Hand Ninja because
yeah, it has to be in hindering for that, but
okay, yeah. When he occupies hindering terrain, he can use Empower. Yes. So yeah, Hand Ninja for the win.
Yeah. So since we're talking about giant girls anyway, do you think it's worth it for an S player to be playing that right now, or do you think that if you're an S player, you're wanting to play something else? Because that's, even if you're that level of player, I feel like that's still such a steep level of difficulty. Like, it's a good build, but
here's how I feel right now, and Dan is probably going to have a very different view. If you said I have puppeteering skills on the level of that freaking guy from Naruto, you know who I'm talking about? That one guy from the Sand Village.
I'm not familiar with Naruto.
Okay, all right,
No idea.
all right, never mind. Okay, so I'll take that reference out, repeat it, remake it. If you had puppeteering skills on the level of what was that play with the Nutcracker? All right, like you got like 8 things dancing and doing ballet. You can play that team because you have to move around in no particular order. Whatever your leadership is, whatever your perplex is, whatever your damage modification is, make sure Hawkeye is protected at all dang times with blocking line of fire, making sure that your starting areas are not too abusive, so that you are victimized by giving your opponent more space than they should have. Because your starting area, with the new rules and the way the rules are, you place objects in terrain before you place figures, and your objects in terrain are always based off of the printed starting area. So yeah, there's all sorts of weird stuff that you can do if you have too many giant girls, but also there's a ton of other weird stuff that your opponent can do because you had too many giant girls. So if you don't keep that in mind, then yeah, there can be some problems, because in turn 1, what should have been a TK turns into a sidestep because you expend your starting area too far. If you don't have the right balance between the fast forces and the standards, you're going to have a bad day. Like, and if you don't have some form of like either like stat manipulation and knowing how you're going to prioritize that stat manipulation for the giant girls or the Hawkeye or the Star Fox or Moon Dragon or whoever else you have, Thor, like it's just too many different ways that you can run an Avengers team. But you need to know where all your resources are going in each turn and how you're maximizing 4 actions a turn. You have to have leadership. If you don't have leadership, you're playing it wrong. If you pick the wrong map, and I know this is going to sound like heresy, the boxing ring is the worst map for you playing Hawkeye and giant girls. And if you're doing, all right, so I'm going to split it off into 2 different directions. There is Hawkeye giant girls, and then there's Wasp Part of the Avengers giant girls. Wasp Part of the Avengers giant girls, they don't care. You know, they're like a, you know, honey badger. Okay. They don't give a flip. They don't care about map, because any map just about, they can just dogpile you wherever they want. Okay. Hawkeye, on the other hand, is going to be on a muck time. He has to be on a muck time with the boxing ring. Just to get rid of all that hindering, as little as it is, shots fired. If you go on the boxing ring map and try to manipulate your starting area too much, you can't maneuver around your stat modification. That's why it's a difficult as hell team to play, because if you go one path, map doesn't matter, but you are guarding Wasp Part of the Avengers like a hawk. You're watching her, praying that your opponent doesn't kill her, because if she dies, half of your team goes up in smoke, literally. If you run Hawkeye, you have to protect him so much that you have to utilize your actions and try to put pressure on with the rest of the giant girls, so that, and whatever attacker, quote unquote, you're using to keep Hawkeye alive. And if you don't use Hawkeye and you're trying to depend on just like Cosmic Star Fox or Cosmic Thor and insert other general attacker here, good luck to you, buddy, dealing with those sooters. good luck to you, man. Because it's not going to happen. It's just not. Because, go ahead.
The only correction I have there, Ed, is that you place characters, then you place objects.
Where is that at? Because we've had a debate about that.
It's step 3.
I thought objects were placed before characters.
Page 4, step 3. The first player must place all of their characters in their starting areas and any non-object additional game elements either in their starting area squares or off the map as appropriate. The second player does the same. The first player then places all objects on their starting force. These objects must be places, blah, blah, blah. Then the second player does the same.
All right. Well, I was wrong. I will, again, that's a common thing.
It makes it, well, the problem is that in your scenario, what you just explained, it makes it worse. Because then you can place objects, you know, underneath of characters for whatever reason. Like, so your sidestep becomes a don't move at all.
Yeah. So there, similar situation, similar explanation, different correct logic. But again, like real talk, when we're looking at all of the things when it comes to map and situations, like name me a map that's modern legal, or sorry, that's WizKids legal, that a giant girl has a problem with. And then go ahead.
Like the Star Trek Underground?
Okay, so that's one map. Name me a team that has plus the map that can say you're going to be on this map.
No, you can't. It's not a thing.
There you go.
Yeah,
unless it's a mirror match.
Right, but then the map is going to be bad for both teams. It doesn't really count as much.
Depends. Like, see, that's the problem with Avengers. The two obvious routes is Hawkeye or Wasp. And you can put Hawkeye and Wasp together, and it can feel like peanut butter and cocaine, like really good, but the after effects is not good for you. Okay.
I don't know how I feel about Hawkeye right now, though, considering that he doesn't do enough to like the big archetypes right now. Like, what does he do to uni lockjaw trees?
No, and that's the issue. Is all right. Hawkeye helps you deal with the mirror matchup. Hawkeye helps you deal with any of your opponent's colossal retaliators. Hawkeye really, really hurts anybody that's running Overdrive as their main taxi. And Hawkeye has the ability potentially to pop Pip, which could be an issue or not an issue depending on your team. Okay. Hawkeye has the ability to, play with the right stuff, start to cripple Sam Cap, not quite. But like I said, is the issue with Hawkeye isn't just here's Hawkeye. It's who is that second attacker and how are you zoning with the giant girls? That's really what it matters. Because Star Fox is good, but I don't think Star Fox has enough to carry, that he can do to carry with Hawkeye. So there could be a better attacker to run with Hawkeye than Star Fox. But if you go with Wasp, you have a lot. Your options for attackers are way more open. And so now you can start looking at different matchups, or you could just say, screw both of those things. I play Sentry. I play freaking Captain Iron America. You can play whatever the hell you want and still beat whoever out for map. Have your game plan specifically for your map, which you will get, and just go from there. Oh, I got Jack of Hearts. It's not the best thing, but I have this plan on this map. Guess what? Unimind, you're going to be on this map. And I have my whole scenario specifically to deal with you and Lockjaw on this map. That's the power of Avengers right now. That's why, like, I'm going to say this, and this is, I'm going to get people are going to hate me for it. They need to make a rule that Theme Team caps out on map roll for +5.
Well, there's going to be something that happens. Like, they can't just say, like what? You can't watch list giant girls. Like, you can't make her unique.
No.
You can't. There's never been. I don't think there's ever been a restriction other than prime and unique, right? Like Morlocks and whatever say you can play 6 of them with a lower, but that's very specific. But like, yeah, if you want to deal with this, you got to jump into the actual rule book. You can't really watch list your way out of this particular situation.
But this isn't the first time we've had this problem, because we had this problem back with Web of Spider-Man with the researcher and scientist theme teams.
Oh God.
Yeah, because the researcher was 15 points. And
Yeah,
that was absurd because he gave enhancement to all scientists. And then even there was another character that was 25 points that was also stupid around that time too. I can't remember right now. But the problem comes back is when you start having keywords and that adds to map roll, and you start integrating characters that are 5 and 10 and 15 points with keywords, it throws the balance completely off. Keywords need to start at 25 points or be there but just not count for map if you're going to do that. That's the only way I see it balancing out.
yeah, it's kind of weird that you mentioned that. Like, thugs don't count towards theme probs, but they give you more theme probs, and they count towards map.
Yeah.
Like, that's a weird one. But yeah, I feel like we're gonna see a lot of WizKids confusion. I feel like they're gonna be like, "Wait, you're playing what?
Yeah,
You're playing how many of these? You're playing how many Fast Forces figures?"
they're looking cha-ching. They're just hearing that cha-ching. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
I mean, I think thankfully in this situation going into Nats, most of the WizKids judges are at least aware of what we're talking about online. So they should be prepped to see a 5-gallon bucket of giant girls.
And Sooters and Groups and yeah, all that.
So many trees. There's so much green of various types. There's so much plant life.
Deforestation so hard right now. Save the world. But let's just be honest. Like, this goes back to when we look at WizKids, we look at game design previously. They're casuals. I mean, Dan, how many people were you there at the Worlds where that like orange hair dude was taking notes?
What do you mean, like what? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, never mind.
I don't have evidence, but I've also heard the type of thing. WizKids isn't considered competitive. Like, well, that's the thing. Like, that's why ID cards exist. Like, ID cards are just the most ridiculous game mechanic ever. But it looks fun because, oh, I'm playing a team. I have 295 points. I get to play this thing. Oh, I get to play more of my collection. It's fun, right? Like, that's sort of mentality.
I'll step back. I've been rambling through the questions. So, Dan, you'll hit this up. I'll step back.
No, I mean, for the most part there, Ed, I agree with what you said on the giant girls. And I think I would agree to sum it all up. I think the only errata we would see to giant girls would not be directly to her. It would be a change to theme teams in general.
Well, we did see the cap now. You get 5 theme probs no matter what. Like, that's almost a step in the right direction. But then again, why did they do that? Like, what were they anticipating? Like, the thug being a problem? I don't know.
No, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, and I called this one. They probably could have seen the giant girl coming. I would give them that much credit. Second of all, they also said at the beginning, before AI was previewed, you go back and look, they said WizKids Battle Royals at Nationals, no figure over 200 points. And someone said, well, what if there's a figure, a colossal with a 200-point line or a 250 at its lowest, right? And I said, guys, they're not going to do that. They know the set list. They know the dials. They know what's coming up. They have a little bit of forethought. It's not the kind of forethought that we necessarily like most of the time. They do have it.
It's like the forethought of knowing that you have a 4-year-old that's big enough to reach in the cookie jar, that they're going to go and get into the cookie jar. It's not the foresight enough to say, like, maybe I need to put my cookie jar in a different place. You know what I mean?
But, like, you can't look at what the Fast Forces Giant Girl does and think the game designer was not looking to make something competitive. Like,
no, the game designer was looking to sell plastic crack like a good dealer does.
By making it an appealing figure.
That's right. 100%. They know what's gonna sell boosters. You can't tell me that they didn't make a Nick Fury to sell boosters. They can't tell me they didn't make a Unimind to sell boosters. They didn't make a Thor with Mjolnir to sell boosters. They didn't make Super Rare Wolverine to sell boosters.
The problem is I feel like they haven't learned the team-based lesson. And the team-based lesson was this. They were trying to make it so that there was inherent value in more of the figures by having them join up with like Voltron. And then you had to buy more to make this Voltron figure like the best ever. And I feel like Unimind was team-based 2.0 with all the extensional arms and additional shields and everything else that you can get from the DLC pack. Okay.
Like if we ever got Dragon Ball Z Clixed, the fusion mechanic would not even come close to what we got in Unimind.
So what we got with Unimind. But here's the problem that I come back to is that works good for selling boosters in the short term. Does that keep people still engaged in your game long term? And my answer to that is no. I lost more of my local community during that Teen Titans to War Light period than any other point in time in Clixed. Like my locals, we were able to get up to like 15, 16 regular. Teen Titans killed the competitive venue. So then I had to go to like casual venue and be competitive. And that didn't go well. But outside of me burning down my own venue due to me being competitive, the number 2 cause of, the casual venue dying was like, look, I have to buy 8 different things to make this one thing that I bought work. That shouldn't be the case. And that's what they're doing. They're making you so you have to buy 8 additional things so your one thing that you bought worked.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I've said this, I kind of have the anti-point to a lot of your things. Brilliant marketing scheme, brilliant way to get money out of the wallets. I ain't hating the player. You hating the game, but I ain't hating the player. WizKid's the player. It's hustling that plastic crack 100%. I will never fault a business for making money. Now there's things that I can fault them about quality control and some of that kind of stuff. But that's even debatable as far as percentages go. Being in engineering, I could go into a big tirade about quality control and percentages and how many figures are produced and what percentage of the figures are off and what percentage of boosters. But anyways, WizKids does a good job, right? They don't have to support us as competitive players. They could just say no championships and still sell just as many boosters, I think.
Actually, yeah, because the competitive scene is the minority, and I mean that's the one thing that we don't want to talk about too much.
So I mean, to me, I am just glad that they're doing the thing next week and they're doing the thing in December. I don't like where the thing's at, but the thing's there. I want to be at the thing with bells and whistles on. And I would wrap up the whole segment. For me today is my one goal with kids related outside of the game next week is to get a selfie with Mr. Zirin.
What do you mean next week?
This week, whatever.
Fair
this
enough.
week. In like 3 days. Time is an illusion, Jay.
Yeah, that being said, we've had some long and good talk going on in the show. Hopefully we have some questions, but it is getting a little bit late.
Jason avoided the show because he knew that I was going to be on it, and he knew what was going to happen.
I'm not going to confirm or deny anything about that, but I would like to have you on soon. Maybe you win, and we just do a champ chat, and that goes for 3 hours. But that being said, I don't know how many YouTube questions we have, but I'm going to jump into the Discord, and we have a Discord for our patrons because I have to plug this. If you are a patron of any valuation, you can jump in the Discord, and we have our not champ chat. We have our patron chat which we just had it yesterday for this month, but I don't know when the next one's going to be, but it'll be soon. So if you want to have some Jason Amber time or just jump in the Discord and pick our brains, you can do that. We have one question from Discord, which is Lucas. I think Lucas Van Holland. I'm not 100% sure. Where is Edward Shelton? Who is Edward Shelton? Why is Edward Shelton? All very good questions, but they are philosophically way too long to actually answer right now. I don't know about y'all's time zones, but it's 11:11 here, and I have an 8-hour drive tomorrow. So we will save that for the later time. Michael Fedor, the original Alpha patron, asks, "Hey guys, this most recent retirement of pieces now makes a lot of my team's golden age. What clicks are you most sad to see retired that isn't named Nick Fury?" And Lucas writes in, "Rip." But we don't want to get Ed started on another.
No, I won't answer this. I'll let Dan answer this because I've tiraded too much.
Oh man, what do I miss besides Nick Fury? Obviously, he's number one in my heart. Always will be. I took all of my Nick Furies, all of my Hawkeyes that became unplayable, all my Green Arrows that became unplayable. For the most part, we know. All of my shield cards. And yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I took them all like this, and I gave them a big hug. And I wished them the best, and as they went to the ROC Age box. So, you know, what do I miss? I miss the IDs. I'm going to miss the KC pieces in casual. I love the low point KC figures for casual games, just to get that prop, get that perplex, get barrier. Lots of good support stuff there. That'd be the number one thing that I would miss in a casual setting. The competitive stuff. We all know what it is. We all know that we miss it. Rest in peace.
It's funny you mentioned the low point KCs because my favorite one is the one you traded to me.
Oh, the GL.
The GL with the missing indoms, but it makes him feel unique. So I'm pretty happy about that.
What was he missing?
The indom slash. Like he has it. He looks like he doesn't have indom. But of course, everybody knows that all KC pieces have flight indom, except for like Red Robin. Point being, I wish that Treaders didn't make his low points completely not viable because wow, what a great 30 points. I love playing it in casual. Rarely touch the higher point though, and that higher point never really quite worked out competitively. Like I know Mike Payne played it with Adara at one point, but it wasn't really ever a thing. Edward, what's your big missed piece?
Oh gosh, I have love for something I said on the show was probably the most efficient Heroclix piece in Modern until retirement in terms of damage output. World's Finest set, World's Finest at 75 points.
Yep.
No damage depletion modifier, 12 attack, 11 attack? I think it's 11 attack.
Or no, 11-4 close combat action.
Yeah.
11-4. Yeah.
Yeah. They were ooh gosh. They were strong. People didn't believe it until I double tap them. And then they were like, how'd you do that? How'd you hit me for 12 damage? And I'm like, well, I upped their damage. They're like, what about damage depletion modifiers? Like, doesn't exist with them. They break the game. I made people.
Yeah, Lex and Joker also. The other side of the same coin. That was such a good. I don't know about 75 versus 200, but either way, man, what a piece.
Yeah, I liked.
Was my mic showing?
Yeah, you got a little quieter. Yeah, Lex Joker at 75 was awesome.
Oh no, I accidentally muted my audio. Okay, never mind. There we go. Cool. That's it for that. There's no. I shared it on the Heroclix group. No, so we'll jump into YouTube, and then that'll be it. Unfortunately, but we've had Dan on before. I had to start getting you on more often, Edward, because this was a very good show.
Yeah, I'm sleep deprived too, so I probably made half as much sense.
Okay, let's see questions.
When you switched from the salt to the truth serum, I was all right.
Okay, we have a question. Keep in mind, if you want your question answered at this very last second, put the word question in all caps so it's easier to see, because there's a lot of comments today. I tell you what.
I
We
can't
have a
see any
question.
of the comments.
Jake Carlisle asks, do you think we could buy the Bible LEs at Gen Con? They have a booth. I don't know about events, but they have a booth. So I would hazard a yes guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And my friend and everybody's friend, KJ Foster, asks, for the three of you, as the main podcasters of the game, who will win us nationals? Well, I can tell you that 1/3 of us are definitely not even going to have a chance. So it's up to you two, I guess.
I can't answer that because I'm hella biased. And he knows that.
Dan, how do you like your chances?
I mean, Ed, you could say me. It's okay.
And then I lose the team.
Oh boy.
So
I tell you what. I mean, I'll just throw it out there, Ed. I've practiced with PJ extensively. We went 11 hours in the think tank. We've both spent countless hours practicing playing. I know a lot of people have been practicing online, spending hours and hours in that think tank, in that hyperbolic time chamber, making the moves. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anybody, just because of the amount of time. I feel good this week. I know the other top players feel good. My team feels good. I know your team feels good. It's going to be a tough competition Friday. So I don't think I could pin myself down to one answer. I did tell someone the other day it's going to be someone that just started playing about 2 weeks ago, see something that none of us saw, and kicks all of our butts in this week.
It's former Magic player.
Yeah, exactly. He's just going to come up and be like, what's this? I like giant girls. I think I can move them this way. Huh, Ed, you died. Hey, Dan, you died. Huh. And we're going to be like all super sad. I don't know. That's my that's the best guess I can give right now, Jay.
Helpful. Oh, man. That looks like... Oh, no, we have one last question. Oh, no, we have two more questions. Happy Little Heroclix asks, what stuff is Edward on?
Right now, it's sleep deprivation. That's what I'm on. That's fully what I'm on right now. But yeah, like that's one of my catchphrases. Heroclix is, WizKids is on that stuff right now. The Edward on that stuff. That stuff is usually some form of narcotic that I can't reference because of the YouTube algorithm, so I don't get age gated. So yeah.
Cool. Hopefully final question. Luke, who was a local around here, but he had to move, asks, what game mechanic, either revived or removed, do you feel would be best for grounding competitive play? I think ID cards can just go. Like they almost did. Like we were close. Like, really? Like it was almost like WizKids was trying to get rid of them after all that. But they were like, oh no, here's hella ID cards. Here's all these ID cards. Like there's so many ID cards now. What, 25 in the X-Men set? 5 and 5, so we're sitting at 35 now? Right?
So is he asking, do we want to see it go away?
What single game mechanic either brought back or removed would be good for competitive play, essentially?
Oh, man.
I say ID cards can just go, and I just want to go back in time and make the X-Men set not exist.
So I think here's the thing, and here's my opinion. Meta play is what it is. There's no grounding the meta play. So if you take one thing out, something else comes to the top. Meta play is not defined by its elements. Meta play is defined by the practice, the team building, the positioning. So if you take ID cards out, you still got to do the work. That's been my opinion. I know there's a lot of hate on ID cards. If I wanted to see something back that would bring out even more diversity, give me some resources back. That way, that balances ID cards. In that, instead of wanting to spend 25 points on ID cards, maybe I spend 15 on a resource and 10 on ID cards. The reason we're spending so many points on ID cards is because there's nothing else to spend them on.
Of course, it's just so easy to compensate and add a character and add an ID card. Like that new thug from Batman. Like, yeah, I'll throw him on a team for 5 points to get another ID card. That seems reasonable. There's a lot of good ID cards now.
I would come back and I would say the main thing that the game needs right now is a better arsenal of objects to play. We and hear me out on this, and I'll try to be as brief as possible because it is late. The biggest problem that we have is we got a bunch of weapons in Thor. We were like, yo, man, those are good. And then WizKids was like, okay, we're done. They constantly, like they should be hitting those objects every set. Like every set, I should see 2 to 3 objects introduced that are like, look, man, here's Mr. Freeze Ray. You get to use Stunning Blow. Hey, here is the Batarangs, Blaze Claws Fangs for 3 damage, up to 3 damage, like at range, range 6. Like they need to just create more and more objects so that now I can say, well, I could play the object or I could play an ID card. Like, and I agree with Dan, resources help, entities help, but we also hit that point. In all honesty, entities weren't worth their points in the last 5 to 6 months they existed because of IDs. Entities weren't worth their points in the last 5 to 6 months. Their last 5 to 6 months because of resources were so cheap.
No, I agree with entities. Though they're not very useful.
Yeah,
the resources, right? I want 12-point sidestep that we just lost. I want a 16-point willpower with the green battery, whatever it was, 16, 20 points ish. I want to be able to take away something with that orange battery. We know that was broken. We know that part was broken. But yeah. But here's the thing though, like we have to really say this, how far the game's progressed, that we can say entities in and of themselves are inferior to other game mechanics. Where when you look back at War of Light, entities were the game mechanic. And I think that comes back to how cheaply stats have been able to be boosted, teams, formations that allow you to get good stat manipulation. So like, I really, if I'm looking at it, give me more objects. I'm with Dan. Give me a plethora of resources that do different things. Give me something that's defensive. Give me something that's control. Give me something that's offensive. So, and if you cover those 3 things, the player base will adapt. You'll see a wide variety of stuff. It won't just be, hey, man, look at me, Colossal retaliate you 15 times in a turn. I'm not hating on that, but there's more to Heroclix than Colossal Retaliators. And that's been a thing since November of 15. We're coming up on 3 years of retail.
I was hoping that they would retire it, but once I saw Sinestro last year, that just let me know that they weren't letting it go. Because they don't have a way of selling you big plastic people without you saying it's a complete waste because I'm never going to play a character that's 250 points that's not good in a 300-point game. And they don't know how to balance Colossal mechanic in it being a standard character in a standard 300-point game. They don't know how to make it work. and that's the problem. Because they can't give it the amount of health a vehicle has, because then it becomes abusive. And if they give them like the scale of damage that old Colossals have, that's the only thing anybody would play. So they don't know how to handle them yet. And I think this batch of Colossals is their first attempt. And them nerfing the freaking fire out of the old Colossals with the starting area ruling was their way of just saying, screw the past, the future is now. And
Burn it all.
Yeah.
Forget the past. Or how did?
Yeah. Forget the past. Burn it if you must.
Was this something that Killmonger said? Because
I was thinking Black Panther. I can't remember.
No, this was the last Star Wars movie.
Oh, it was Kylo Ren. Either way, yeah, they were just like, what other figures?
I haven't watched new Star Wars.
Yeah.
They pissed me off because the one guy wasn't Jedi. So I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. That being said, we've had a great show. You guys have done fantastically.
Yeah.
We do have to eventually. I mean, of course, we're gonna have to have one of you back on when you win for Champ Chat, because that's not redundant or anything at this point. But that being said, we have some sponsors, and we are going to thank them, such as MajesticsCCG.com. Check out their eBay store and their online store. Also, check out the premium site, MajesticsCCG.com /Apex-Insiders. We have lots of great articles from the great minds in Heroclix, including from people that are on this show. I just put up an article, quick fire fringe article. Here's a bunch of figures that you could see at Nationals that haven't seen much play, either because they just don't see play or because stuff retired and made it better. PJ's a contributor. He's posting his Nats team build soon, I think, based on what he's posted.
As soon as he's done with it.
Yeah, Dan was, he's finally decided. Dan was just talking about an article he put up. Basically, if you want to get some insight into the brains.
I'll be posting mine as well.
I have to ask you not to talk during the ad read. Please and thank you. Lots of love. Basically, if you want to either get that delicious team information, if you know PJ is going to be at a place that you're at, or if you want Adam's insight, that is the place to go. For $3 a month, you get lots of great content. Pat sometimes posts, Easton, and there's team results or tournament results, tournament reports, if somebody's willing to write them. We're also supported by The ROC, which has their new website up at roc.onsweek.com. If you want to host a ROC, they have a section with all the information with that. Keep up with any ROC news, and you can track all of the various Heroclix podcasts and content creators, like the ones that we have on this specific show, and they're in their specific section for that on the site. That being said, as we sign off on this week's Meta Lab, always remember that practice makes your team better, and good luck at Origins and U.S. Nationals. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we